So good afternoon all. We are now into our next lecture, which is on the lighting system. We are into module 3. So today we will discuss about energy efficiency measures in lighting system and lighting control, in which we are broadly going to discuss about occupancy sensors, daylight integration, use of intelligent controllers. So in module 3 also we have this topic remaining, which is energy conservation opportunities in water pumps, industrial drives, induction motor, motor retrofitting, soft starters, and variable speed drives. In module 3, we have discussed about energy management and conservation in electrical system, in which we talked about power factor and power factor improvement, the demand side, demand control, maximum demand control, and today we are going to discuss about the lighting system. Basically, when we talk about light or lamps, what is the one thing that comes to your mind? We know God created heaven and God created earth. Then there was darkness and there was a void form of earth available. And then God said, let there be light. So we say that even if in a dark room you keep gold plated watch or some diamond ring, you will not be able to see it if there is no light. So light is what we can say very important part of our life. And talking about energy related terms, lighting constitutes around 20% of our energy consumption. Okay, so whenever we say any residential unit or industrial unit or power plant, 20%, 20 to 25% of the energy utilization comes from light, light source. Whenever we talk about a light, it consists of some parts, consists of a lamp. Let us talk about a diya. So diya on in its own form has some components, okay, which itself is called as a lamp. So lamp is a equipment which produces light. So diya is also equipment which produces light, okay. But in lamps we have different types of lamps, like incandescent lamp. Incandescent lamp produce light by means of a filament which is heated to incandescent by the flow of electric current. Incandescent means ability to produce light when it is heated. So if something is heated, it produces light, that is called as an incandescent effect. So based on this principle, if it is working, so it is called as an incandescent lamp. Our normal bulb of 60-watt bulb, 40-watt bulb you used to buy in your childhood, that were the incandescent lamps which you do not find lately. Okay. So the principal part of an incandescent lamp, also known as a GLS, that is a General Lighting Service Company. So GLS भी बोलते थे उसको. So include a filament, the bulb, the fill gas, and cap. Fill gas can be any type of gas or it can be vacuum also. Okay. So vacuum, why vacuum? Because whatever the light is produced, that should come out of that bulb. It should not get hampered. So for example, if I talk about now, the winter season is now approaching, you see the outside climate is a little bit hazy. Why that is the case? Because now is the time that all the now rainy season is gone, and you say that there is a kind of dust being accumulated in the surrounding, pollen particles, particulate matter, everything is now suspended in the air, and that makes our environment hazy. And when this haze is there, the light will not be able to penetrate from the sun's from the source to the surface. Okay. Just a moment. So far so good. Any doubt till now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah. So incandescent light lamps are clear to you. Now reflector lamps. Reflector lamps are basically incandescent, provided with a high quality internal mirror, which follows exactly the parabolic shape of the lamp. The reflector is resistant to corrosion, thus making the lamp maintenance free and output efficient. Such kind of reflector lamps you see as street lights. Okay, so we will have a light source and there will be a reflector at the back. Okay. Then the other component of lighting system is a luminaire. Okay, luminaire is a device that distributes or filters or transforms the light emitted from one or more lamps. So luminaire includes all the parts necessary for fixing and protecting the lamps, except the lamp themselves. So if you see a diya, the lamp source is a, we say a wick material, like cotton, wick material which is being placed and which burns. So that is a lamp. Okay. But the housing, the shape of the lamp in which the oil is placed, that becomes a luminaire. When we talk about tube lights, fluorescent tube light, short form is FTL, fluorescent tube light, FTL. We basically dimension, or we can say the type of tube lights are specified as T8, T5, T12, depending upon the diameter. So if it is a 50 mm diameter tube light, it's called as a T5. 80 mm diameter, then it is a T8, T12, like that. Diameter of the tube will be known as the nomenclature for tube lights. So the luminaire for tube light will include the ballast, the lamp source, that is the tube light which is being holded in the two holders at the end, the frame of the tube light. Okay. So the basic physical principle used in optical luminaire are reflection, absorption, transmission, and refraction. So nowadays we are having a LED bulb. So LED bulb will also have, inside we have LED, which is a source of light. LED is being put up on some PCB that becomes the housing of the LED light. That housing will have below it the circuit for that. Then we have the top cover, which is a reflector. Okay. Then we say various LED lights are promoting their use in terms of advertisement, like it is a 120-degree angle, then 60-degree angle, then there is a T lamp from Philips, which gives a wide angle. So this is all a reflectors. Okay. So auxiliary circuits, the luminaires, the reflectors together contribute to a luminaire. Then there is another component of light which is called as a control gear. This ballast, igniters. You see the tube light, when it is on, it is multiple on and off, and then it becomes on. So to make that on and off possible, there is a starter available in the tube light. So you see YouTube, it is available how tube light works. You can go through it, but nowadays we are not using tube lights with a starter and ballast type. We are now having electronic ballast, okay, which we use for LED tube lights. What is the drawback of LED tube light or LED bulbs, LED light? Can anybody tell me in the chat section? What is the drawback of LED lights? Anybody? Can anybody say what is the disadvantages of using LED? Everyone are having LED bulbs in their home. LED lights, LED tube lights, LED bulbs. Chat
Yes, sir.
section. Yeah. Yes. So I'm asking that LED lights are energy efficient. That is known to the society. But what is the disadvantage of using LED? Or there is no disadvantage? You can comment that also in the chat box.
Sir, high initial price.
Okay, high initial price. Okay, one disadvantage. Another thing, anybody? Yes, short illumination range. Vaibhav, please explain. They can be too bright. Yes. Now you are coming to point. You must have noticed that when you sit under tube lights, there is no cast of shadow or very less cast of shadow. But how many of you have noticed? If you have noticed, say yes in the chat section that you have noticed that once we put LED light in our room, there is a shadow cast, right? And this shadow cast can be at times very disturbing. When somebody is studying under LED light and somebody else crosses that light and the shadow is cast, it seems to be disturbing for the person. Yes, dimming effect. Yes. So you see, how can we avoid? How can we avoid this type of shadow cast from the LED bulb or LED light? By using a proper luminaire, or we can say diffuser. Proper diffuser if we use, then this shadow effect will be gone. But then when we put some diffuser, the another term comes into picture that is called as a color rendering index. Okay, so you see there are different types of colors you observe from day to evening. In the morning you see there is a different type of illumination, natural illumination we are talking about. In afternoon we see different type of illumination, that means our home brightens up in different form in afternoon time. In evening time sometimes we see orange environment due to some albedo effect. What is albedo? So albedo is nothing but cloud cover and the reflection caused by clouds is called as albedo. Okay, so you see there is different types of color rendering index. Once you visit, you tell me in the chat section, when once you visit a jewelry shop, what type of light you observe. There are three options I would like to give: red color light, white color light, or off white color light. Once you visit jewelry shop, you observe red color light, a white color light, or off white color. Yeah, yellowish. Yes, correct. Off white. Why is that? Because you see, and the same jewelry shop you visit. Yeah, same jewelry shop you visit where there is a silver section, diamond section. What type of light you observe? Yes, correct. Yes, very good. So your observation is good. There is some purpose. There is some purpose for keeping such kind of light. Yes, right. So you see, this is called as a color rendering index. That means some kind of object will enhance its appearance when, yeah, to make them, or in general we can say in technical terms that to make them appear good, to improve their or to enhance their appearance, we put it under this kind of effect, which is called as a color rendering index. Now Chinese restaurants, what type of lights you observe? Chinese restaurant. Chinese restaurant, red color. Why? Why? No logic. Why red color? It's the theme. Yes, maybe. But if you see the food gets enhanced or in appearance because Chinese food is all about the Szechuan sauce and the red color chili sauce and the, yes, spicy thing kind of, and oily to reflect the oiliness. So to make that all possible, we put it under Okay. One more example I would like to give is the Farsan shop. Farsan shop. Farsan shop. What color light you observe? White color, yellow color. Yes, yellow. Yes, correct. Off white. Because Farsan products are based on besan. So to enhance the yellow color effect, we put it under yellow light. So all these things are covered under the luminance. Okay. So this is a quotient of the luminous flux incident on an element of the surface at a point of surface contacting the point and the area of that element. Confusing, but understand that the lighting level produced by lighting installation is usually qualified by the illuminance produced. That means the source, how much light it gives, is called as a illuminance or brightness, we can say. Okay. So illuminance provided by an installation affects both the performance of the task and the appearance of the space. If you put, see, I don't know how many of you have visited or gone through this tunnel. In tunnel, what kind of light should be there in a tunnel? Road tunnel, road tunnel. White color light will be disturbing. It should be yellow light, yes. But on the other hand, if you observe, if you observe the tunnel of railways, railway tunnel, what kind of light you observe? It's white light. Yes. So there is a difference. What can be the reason? Please find out and put it in the WhatsApp group today itself. Find out why road tunnels are yellow in yellow color, street lights, and why the railway tunnel is rendered with white color light. Find out the answer and tell me today itself. Okay. Let us see who does this activity. Okay. It's for you. Then as we are having the light is measured in watts or kilowatt or some kilojoule or heat is measured in calories. In that way, the light is measured in lux. Okay, this is the illuminance produced by a luminous flux of 1 lumen. Okay, 1 lumen uniformly distributed over a surface area of 1 square meter. So it is lumens per square meter. Lumens per meter square will be lux. So lumens basically luminous flux is watts. Okay. So luminous flux, you see, it is the ratio of luminous flux emitted by a lamp to the power consumed by the lamp. It is a reflection of efficiency of energy conversion from electricity to light form. That means if I give this many watts, it should give me this many lumens. So earlier the term used for measuring the light source was candela. Cadela. Okay. So it was the measure of light, but nowadays we use the term called as lux. And there are lux meters available. Lux meters available, watt per meter square. So 1 lumen per meter square. Okay. Lumens per meter square is the unit of lux. So 1 lux is equal to 1 lumen per meter square. So there is, so if we say 1,000 and there are different activities being demonstrated by the energy conservation building code, that for theaters, how much should be the lux? How much should be lux for in theaters, in corridors, in overhead bridges, railway bridges, overhead foot over bridges. what should be the lux? For study purpose, what should be the lux? For normal residential purpose, what should be the lux? Headlight of the headlight of the automobile, what should be the lux? This all is given by Energy Conservation Building Code. But how many of you follow? We don't follow because we are not aware. What you do? I want to replace. I, um, I want to replace the light of my room. What we do? 200 रुपए में कितना वाला एलईडी बल्ब आएगा वो मैं लेके आऊंगा. Isn't it? Or do we calculate how much lux is required for this room? Depending upon that, I will go and bring that LED bulb so that my lighting purpose will be solved. For study purpose, how much lux is necessary so that I should sit under that light and study so that there will be no stress on my eyes. What should be the location of the light in my room? Okay, so all these things needs to be studied as a lighting engineer. There is a course offered by MIT Institute, Pune. So MIT ADT is there in Anandi, Pune. There is a dedicated lighting engineer course, bachelor's degree course in lighting. Okay, so you can go deep into it. There is a research being done on lights. Okay, moving further. So you now understood what is luminous efficacy. That is the how it is getting converted from electricity to light is called as lumens per watt. Then there is the next one called as color rendering index that we talked about earlier, is a measure of the degree to which the colors of surface illuminated by a given light source conform to those of the same surfaces under a reference illuminant. Suitable allowances having been made for the state of chromatic adaptation. Means to enhance the appearance of the object, a little bit allowances are given that okay, if this is falling under this, it should give me this kind of lighting effect. So to understand more, see this. So CRI of 98 gives a good color rendering index. All these, this is one apple, same apple being placed under different lights. So you see the CRI of 98 will render a different color, maybe orange color. The original one, we can say for different person, different color will be favorable. So understand that apple is same, but put under different lights will improve its sellable value. The type of light bulb you use in your home could have a profound effect on the way a room looks. This is often attributed to something known as the color rendering index, also referred to as CRI. This index measures the ability of a light source to reveal colors of object in contrast to the natural light source, such as the sun filtering it through your windows. So if you have a window and if you have a sunlight, you can also change the natural light in accordance to this CRI by putting a different type of window. And such kind of industries are available, or you can do your own consultancy business. To you must have seen that a particular selection of the curtains, particular selection of the furniture, wardrobe enhances the appearance of the room. Because of this, also because of this, the type of lamp that you use inside your house. Okay, so a balcony will demand a different type of light as compared to a kitchen, as compared to a bedroom. Okay, so what is CRI? Simply put, it's the measurement of the light in relation to how it reflects the appearance of color. This range can also depend upon the temperature of the light. So we have cool light, warm light, like that. So there are dimmers available which can control the same light and give different output, different CRI. This kind of lighting systems are also available. There is what we can say, a a showcase, or we can say a workshop of the lighting system. So we can say exhibition in general, if we want to say that there is a LED expo, LED exhibition in Nesco, Mumbai. Everywhere it is, but last year it was in Mumbai, the LED expo. When you visit such kind of exhibitions, you come to know that now you are energy engineers, you should be in touch of this, how, where the exhibition take place, what I can learn from this. So there, as an energy engineer, you must be able to suggest a proper type of lighting to industry, to hotels, to residential things, utilities, to industries, factories, new buildings, like that. Okay. So lighting temperatures can range from infrared light to the kind coming from skylight all the way to ultraviolet light. Ideally, you want to use lighting that will best illuminate each room depending on your needs. In our college, we take this competition of a neon cricket in which we use ultraviolet light just to enhance a particular object. You must have participated in this and you know it. Okay. This completes the yeah. So Rahul is answering that the eye adapts instantly when transitioning from low to bright light, and so doesn't need special adaptive processes. So the next time you enter a tunnel and wonder why there are orange lights, it's to help adjust your eyes so that you can avoid obstacles easily. Correct. Very good. Yes. And railway tunnel is a visual display device that conveys instruction or provides advanced warning or instructions regarding the driver's authority to produce. Or in general, I want to add in this that railway tunnels are made for the railway employees to survey in the tunnel. So when the train is not there, so the train light is so much that it will not affect the motorman about the white light. It will not cause disturbance to the motorman. But once the train passes, to make the surveillance in the tunnel, it should be white light, not the yellow light. Okay. Yes. Right. Correct. So yes, this finishes the the components of the lighting system. Also, the different types of the terms which are used in lighting system, which is the luminous efficacy, then the lux, okay, then the illuminance, and so on. Then comes occupancy sensor. Now this occupancy sensor you must have observed in toiletries, okay, in corridors, right? So occupancy sensors also, these are not just on and off type, but these are also dimming type. Dimming type means what? If there is a daylight available, you put off the light in the corridor, right? And if there is what we can say a dull light, then you put it on. Similarly, when there is no person utilizing the toilets or bathrooms, maybe in hostels or in a education institute like us, the toilets will not be used during lecture hours. So we have 1 hour lecture, and like that we have 8 hours total. Okay. So in between, we can say if somebody enters, then at that time the light should go on. And if there is no one present, after say 1 minute, the light should go off. So such type of will result into energy saving. Okay. So not much explanation required because you are now engineers, final year students, and you know what occupancy sensor is all about. It is a device that detects the presence of a person. There are various occupancy sensing technologies, but the most common are infrared, microwave, ultrasonic, and video image processing based. Occupancy sensors are usually connected to a building's Internet of Things network, IoT network, and feed data back to alarms or building automation system for lighting control, ventilation, and zone access. Also HVAC. If there is no one present, then HVAC will be shut down. HVAC is heat ventilation and air conditioning. Occupancy sensor work by detecting motion and changes in their environment. Each sensing technology does this in a different way. For example, there are basic PIR sensors, which are the passive infrared sensors which detect changes in the temperature, that is the body heat. Then ultrasonic sensors emit high frequency sound waves outside of human hearing range and use the Doppler effect of returning sound waves to detect people. So also if there are more number of people, then HVAC will be in the full mode. If there are lesser number of people, HVAC will be controlled. Okay. Also lighting. Some portion of the room, if there are more people, then the lighting will go on at that portion. Okay. Right. Time of flight. Infrared sensor use a similar principle as ultrasonic sensor. However, instead of sound, they use infrared light. So this is more popular. The time of flight infrared sensors are more popular, and artificial intelligence on board these sensors learns their surrounding and detect changes when people pass by. So there are also cameras available which work on this principle, that the camera will be switched off and it will be only on when there is a movement of the people and it start recording. Otherwise it is on but it will not record. Okay. So these sensors are typically installed in strategic locations to pick up motion in high traffic or isolated areas. Designed to be discrete, they are typically ceiling mounted devices that detect individual or and groups entering the or exiting a zone, building, floor, room, etc. The data collected is then transmitted to a cloud-based platform where artificial intelligence algorithms can calculate real-time occupancy level and space utilization, firing off predetermined commands to the connected automated devices such as lighting or HVAC system. So here, the instrumentation people will find their scope to how to smartly design these all sensors, and they are very cheap. They are not costly. A simple Arduino circuit will be able to you will be able to design this kind of sensors. Location of sensors also engineering is required, where you will put this sensor so that it will be utilized to its fullest. Then the concept of smart building, green building, smart building, sustainable building management, all this comes under one roof, where we have the smart building technology is driven by the demand for more sustainable building management practices, energy efficiency goals, and the necessity to create dynamic, responsive, and optimized environment for occupants. Right? So the electronic hardware you choose to install throughout your smart building needs to effectively integrate and feedback into your existing platform so that you can experience the long-term benefits of making such investment. True occupancy sensors collect and store data in a cloud platform that allows different stakeholders to view and analyze this information remotely or on site, right? So true occupancy sensors, seamless integration through APIs enable more efficiencies and benefits to accommodate the changing needs of our building and its occupants. Okay, so it completes the occupancy sensors. So what we have learned in occupancy sensors, that we must be proper occupancy sensor should be selected based on ultrasound, then the PIS or infrared. Okay, so what type of instrument you will use, how you will connect it, whether you will put the data on a real time basis or on the cloud, and you put artificial intelligence so that it will start the machine learning principle in which the component itself will learn and they will integrate as per the surrounding. So all these things need to be addressed when we design or select an occupancy sensors. To make yourself comfortable, there are occupancy sensors available in the market. You just have to look at their configurations and suggest to the end user that this type of occupancy sensor will be suitable for your place. Isn't it? Okay. Next one is the daylight integration. Now you must have visited some temples, some old monuments. Best example I would like to give you is the Red Fort. How many of you been to Red Fort? Red Fort in Delhi. So there is a place called as Diwane Khas and Diwane Am. Okay, you have heard these locations. So there
No,
the
sir.
light, yeah, there the lighting arrangement is such a way that no artificial lighting is necessary. During entire day, it will be same illuminated. It will be illuminated in the same way. Okay, how many of you visited Ajanta caves, Ajanta Ellora caves, Ajanta Ellora caves, Ajanta caves? So if you have been to Ajanta cave, there are paintings which are carved inside the caves, and there is a special technique to see these paintings. You cannot direct straight away see these paintings without illumination. And if you visit there, the people over there or the guards over there will not allow you to point your mobile phones with flashlight onto that paintings, because these paintings are case sensitive to lights with flashlights. If you put a flash on that painting, it will degrade. Such type of paintings are there. There is one famous painting. If you look at Ajanta painting and if you search, there is a there will be a picture of a lady wearing a diamond kind of or pearl necklace. That lady is seen everywhere. When if you search Ajanta caves, it is always showing a lady who is wearing a pearl necklace. So that if you look at that painting, you will not understand. But on a particular angle, if you point the sunlight to that painting, that pearl necklace will come out as a 3D image in front of you. How many of you have witnessed this when you visit the Ajanta caves? How many of you have witnessed? Nobody? So next time we should plan our visit, kind of industrial visit to Ajanta caves to look at this. Okay, right. Sarvesh, please mute. Right. Okay. So yeah, there is there is research going on, and we when people do research, you see this kind. This is the image. That is the solar window. We can say that there is a solar window. Solar window means it is a travel of sun at a particular location. Okay. So you have summer solstice and winter solstice. This is from east to west, and the movement of sun. The movement of sun takes place 22.3 degree in the summer side, 22.3 degree in winter side. This is called a summer solstice and winter solstice. That is the movement of sun. Okay. So this is called as a solar window, and one must this will cast a shadow. And you see there is a software available which is Autodesk Ecotect. It is a measure, and it is used to measure and improve environmental design factors early on with our conceptual building performance analysis software. Means it will show how this shadow will be cast. If the shadow is cast on the other building, the use of daylight integration will not be there. So daylight integration is one of the tool for energy conservation. Okay. And once you do the study of this daylight integration, there are some terms which you will encounter, which is known as useful daylight illuminance, daylight autonomy, then thermal comfort hours, and carpet area to window ratio. There is a uh, threshold, or we can say optimization between the window size, okay, window size and the dimensions of the room. If you make window size too large, it will allow more heat also to penetrate from that window. even though it will allow the light to pass, but also it will allow the heat to pass. So there should be an optimum size of the window which should allow sufficient amount of light, sufficient amount of light, and also it should not allow more heat to pass into the room. Got the idea? How many of you have visited the Global Vipassana Center, Global Pagoda at Bhainder, Mira Road? Yes. So there is a meditation center in a dome. You have seen that? So there is a lighting arrangement. There's small windows are kept so that it will provide as a sound barrier. Also sufficient, yes, so much dark room, but it will provide you the best required amount of light which is required for meditation, because there we are not doing any activity, we are just sitting there and relaxing. So even though it is a dark room, if you enter inside, how many of you been to that dome, inside the dome, the big dome, which requires a 10-day meditation, 10-day training, then they allow inside the dome. I'm not saying that you have to look at the dome from outside. I'm saying who have entered inside the dome, the big dome. So if you enter the big dome, there is a sufficient kind of lighting being available, okay, for the which is required for meditation. Yes, correct. So I suggest you that you please visit that place in our energy conservation context. So there you will find the solar plant also available. It is installed by one of my friend for sustainable energy generation from solar plant, right? So if you have time, now things are getting better. If you have time, you can go visit that place, which is not too crowded, and you can maintain social distance and go visit that place and see how the meditation is done in the at that place. And what is the main thing is to observe how natural lighting is being implemented. Okay. Yes, and share your experience with us. Right. So any questions you would like to ask me at this point?